Today we'll be looking at every small trick that actually improves your sample beats. So if your beat is a 8 out of 10 and you don't know what to do to make it a 10 out of 10, then this video is literally perfect for you, as we will start with the easiest way to arrange your entire song, go through 7 of my favorite small tricks, and finish with the way that you should finish your beat with. So without further ado, let's get into the first trick, and that is arrange your beat to a pre-existing song. And so this is exactly what it sounds like. So we'll be stealing, but we'll be stealing as artists, so we're not gonna be copying people directly. So the problem here is that I know so many people, beginners or medium advanced guys, that just struggle with arranging their beats. And what they just end up doing is copy-pasting their loop. But we all know that this is boring, and that's not how you make interesting arrangements. So the easiest solution to this is to literally just copy someone else. So to be clear, what we're gonna be copying here is not their sounds, not their emotions, not their chords, not their drums, but just their arrangement. So the way they arranged their beat. For example, wherever they have a chorus, that's where we're gonna place our chorus. Wherever they have an EQ cut, that's where we're gonna do it. Wherever they cut out their drums, that's when we're gonna do it, and so on and so on. Right? So basically for me here, I started with this loop. So I sampled this song, Angry Man by Dakota, added my drums, added my chords, added my bass, and did quite a lot of processing here. And the loop by itself sounds like this. So how do I actually take this and create a full song out of it? Well, we're gonna do exactly what we said in this trick, right? So here, to arrange my song, I'm gonna grab Kanye West Off the Grid. And so basically I just have it here at the bottom, and I just matched it to my tempo, so it's actually on grid for me and my beat, and it's just gonna sound a little bit sped up, but it actually doesn't matter because I just wanna copy the arrangement, and actually matching it to the tempo is just gonna make that way easier for me. So I'm just gonna start zooming in and looking at the sections that Kanye has here. So here for his intro, I think he starts off with like a bass and like some chords here. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So let's just zoom out, let's just copy my bass, my chords. Then I think he brings in his drums. So like here we have, right, we have the drums drop. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just bring in my drums for this. And then you can just continue doing that for the entire song, just seeing what your reference has and then placing that with your arrangement. And so I actually already went ahead and did this. So here is how the arrangement of actually my song looks after all of it is done. So let's move on to trick number 2. And so that's stop copy pasting your patterns, right? Because the problem with it is that it just completely ruins the interest of your listeners. And as a producer and a songwriter, you want to constantly keep evolving your songs so listeners can anticipate what's next, but never predict it. So the perfect solution for that is to just not copy paste your patterns, but create new ones that just come in and then disappear forever. So basically they're just like one-time events, they're unpredictable and they're random. But there is a caveat here. So the only time that it's okay to copy paste your patterns and when you actually should do it is with your core patterns. That's your drums, that's your bass line, that's your like chords. And we basically just do that to keep some familiarity for the listener. So here, what I actually do, you might have already noticed that in my arrangement, there's like a couple of different things all throughout coming in and out. So for example, one of the unique patterns is this pattern. So basically I just grabbed like a very distorted electric guitar and I used it as this like bridge that's gonna bring my song into the chorus. Right, and the last thing I want to just show you here is that with my sample, I kind of tease it all throughout my arrangement, but then only bring it at the end. So it just gives it like foreshadowing for the end of the beat. Let's move on to trick number 3. And so that is the rule of 2. So this rule is a kind of extension of the previous point, because again, our main problem is just copying the same pattern over and over again, right? And how it makes your beats just boring. But like everything, it's okay if it's done in moderation. So that's where the rule of 2 comes in. and it just states that you shouldn't repeat any given pattern more than twice without change. Just take notice, I'm a beat that usually after 2 repetitions there is a big change. So for example, if I zoom in here into the chorus, my patterns are 8 bars long, so I just have this pattern and then I repeat it twice. So all of this, the entire loop gets repeated twice, and then I just have this little switch up and we go into a verse. Same happens here with this chorus. Now there are sometimes exceptions where the 3 repetitions or 4 are okay, but a rule of 2 is a pretty solid start. So for example, I have this piano, right, but this pattern, it actually repeats 4 times in a row. By the way, the rule of 2 is a concept I learned from someone else on YouTube, so I don't take credit for it, but to be honest, I have no clue who that was. So if you have any idea who it might have been, then just let me know in the comments so I can put proper credit in the description of this video. And so the trick number 4 is automation, volume, and EQ. So for this trick, I want you to think of your beat as a breathing, living creature. And the problem is that right now, as you have it, is actually not breathing at all. It's just flatlining, which makes it stale and just dead. So that's where our automation comes in. And you can do that with volume, you can do that with EQ, you can do that with effects, you can do that with pretty much whatever you want. But don't think that you just made patterns, you arrange your beat out and then it's done, right? Because no, you need to start adding like those peaks and valleys and introducing those like changes to your beats. So you might have already heard a couple automations I did in this beat. So for example here, where I have this pre-chorus bridge, you might have heard this like EQ automation. And so I actually have it here on a group where basically I take this low end pass and I just keep bringing it down and then I slowly release it. So let's take a look at it with the EQ on actually and how it's gonna sound. And another automation I actually did is for the intro. So for the intro, I just have my chords here, but I actually just slowly open up my chords over time. So they start at like 265 Hertz and then I open them up to 491 Hertz. So once again, it just adds another like layer of detail onto your beat. And so for the trick number 5, I'm gonna tell you to render stuff out. I know a lot of people that are simply just scared to render their tracks out or just bounce some of the tracks in place because they like to keep their instruments in MIDI. They like to keep their processing on a sample, right? Because they think that they might in the future go back and want to change a couple of knobs, maybe change a chord or note or 2. But that's exactly the problem of why your song just does not move forward. And that's because you're just scared to commit to anything. But I promise you that after you like finish with writing a part and like for example you have your bass in MIDI done, then there's like almost 100% chance that you will not change it. So just render it out, because committing to it will actually take the mental load of it not being finalized off of you, right? So actually let's move on to this project number 3, because I'm actually going to show you what I added in project number 2 a little bit later on. But right now, all of that from project 2 and 1 is rendered onto one track. And I just have this project 3, where you can see there is still like one-off elements added here and there. So for example, here for this chorus, I just add this like small sound here. Then like for example, for the end here, I just add this like string. And so just rendering stuff out lets me move forward with my beats. And the next trick number 6, is do random stuff. So I think this trick is pretty straightforward. But the problem is that everybody wants their song to sound unique and they want to have that like something unique about the song, right? Now, well, for your song to sound unique, well, you have to do unique stuff. But most often, how unique stuff actually comes to life is usually you're just in the process of production, you're just producing a song, you're producing a beat, and then like a random idea pops up or like a random like, oh, I should try this effect, or I should try this melody, or I should do this thing or that thing. And so basically my trick here is that whenever something like pops up in your mind, like literally whatever it is, just try it, okay? Like don't judge it, because a lot of people, when they have an idea, they like judge it immediately. So they're like, oh, it's not gonna work, oh, it's gonna sound bad, or I don't know if I should do this, oh, I don't know, this and that, and you know, there's a lot of problems with it. Honestly, bro, don't judge it, just try it, right? And if it works, great, then keep it in. If it doesn't, okay, whatever, just throw it out like it never happened. And so for example here, in this part of the beat, right at the beginning, whenever I was listening to this like second part of the verse, for some reason in my head, I just heard this like melody. So instead of judging that melody, I just simply added it into the MIDI and it just came out like this. And so for our last trick, I'm gonna tell you to make an end surprise for your listener. And so basically the problem here is that the end of the song is really important, right? Because if your listener already got here, they clearly like your beat. But here the end is basically the break or make deal. Because we as humans, we have this thing called recency bias. So if the ending of a song is really bad, we're gonna overlook that the entirety of the song, like the intro, the chorus, all of that was nice. But if the ending is bad, then the entire song is gonna be affected by that. So it's really, really important that you get your ending right. And therefore you should just do something at the end that's gonna keep your listener hooked in. And a great example for that is Kanye West's Runaway. So in Runaway, Kanye West at the end brings in this like distorted vocal that kind of sounds like a guitar, but it's not really a guitar. And that's just a really memorable moment of the song, which just makes you go like, wow, that's really cool. You know, I want to listen to that song again now. Another good example, if you want to check it out, is Kanye West Come to Life. I really like the pianos there at the end. But anyway, there's a lot of way you can do it in your beats. So for example, 1 is a switch up, 2 is introducing like new context that changes the meaning of the song, and 3 is basically making a pretty outro that is just gonna make them want more and make them wish that the song was longer. So those are just the 3. That's not everything you can do, because there's honestly quite a lot of things you can do. And it doesn't have to be anything big. It just has to be something that will make the listener go like, hey, that was nice. I'd listen to the song again, you know? So what I did for my end surprise is basically this. Introduce these new piano chords that are like evolving all throughout this outro. Then I also add this like small arpeggio here. And right at the end, I have that sample that basically the entire beat was built around, and the sample that I was teasing all throughout the beat. And so if you want to learn how to sample like this, how to make beats like this, then check out Sample Academy. It's truly the #1 place for you to learn sampling. And actually this beat itself was made on Samples Academy live course. So check it out. It's first thing in the description. But anyway, if you want to make your own beats even better, then you should probably know the 6 best and worst sampling skills to learn. And for that, click this playlist that's currently on your screen and see you there.